Okay, good morning. I'm going to go ahead and make a video instead of going through the process of writing a paper. So I made some notes here this morning regarding the questions. I'm going to kind of look at some of them and go ahead and make the video. So I think the way that I'm putting together my thoughts in a meaningful way regarding the three courses specifically, I think that I have learned to write at a very different level is one of the major things that has happened. I think in the PAR course especially, I had to really change my writing style and my writing ability, and I feel as if I now can do that, and it takes a lot less effort. My research synthesis I just wrote for Ollie, I think is a pretty good piece of writing, and it took me a lot less time than the PAR project had taken me, or the chapter that I wrote as part of the sexual misconduct book last summer, because I have had a lot more experience writing scholarly work and reporting things. So I feel like that's been a huge change. I think I've been thinking much more sequentially, especially through the research methods class and now through statistics. I think I can really see how starting something the correct way and making sure that I have the right questions, and I have questions that address some of the intermediate the mediating variables and some of the things that I don't have control of, will allow me to have a much cleaner study in the end, and will actually be looking for the specific thing that I'm looking for. So I think that's been a huge amount of progress that I've made in the courses, and have learned a lot. I feel like I have a basis for research methods courses. I feel like I have a basis for starting to write my dissertation. I clearly am going to be working through that process. I think when we look at writing specifically as a way to construct meaning and to create new knowledge, actually the task of writing, I believe I will learn a lot through the process of writing a dissertation, which I think is an important focus. I think also the thing that I've been getting, especially out of Ollie's class this semester, is the whole social construct of the community of inquiry framework, and the fact that debate, that discourse, that's part of that doctoral committee, but it's also part of working with my colleagues and taking classes, and I feel like that has really helped me clarify a lot of my ideas, which I believe is a really important part of becoming a scholar leader, and learning how to listen to other people and help them clarify their ideas. I feel like I'm going to be so much better at problem solving, just general problems in practice, because I have all of those skills now, and you have them in your toolbox, but you're constantly getting them out and working on them too. So I feel like it's been really positive for me. Specifically, the project we're working on right now, how does it help me in my current job? Well, we're getting ready to roll out a one-to-one project. I think all the way back from my course last summer, my courses we took last summer, I feel like I'll do a much better job of involving people, of making that more of a participatory action kind of project. And I believe it'll roll out so much nicer for my staff, and I think my kids will have the benefit of that. So, I think just being able to think through that whole process, really sequentially, and really identify, what are our key goals for that project? Is it just to make sure that kids have access to technology, or is it to really drive student-driven learning, which is where we're moving now? And I think I've been able to put together some theoretical frameworks that I can actually share with my teachers and provide them with a vision where I want the district to go. And I think ultimately that's the job of the superintendent. My role should be to do that. It should be to see that big overarching picture and to say, this is where we're going. And to be able to do it in a visual framework that I can hand to people, which I'll attach as part of this video, I think really gives you a much stronger message. It's a much clearer message. It provides a mental model for folks that gives them that picture of what you want them to do, and gives them essentially more buy-in, because they can now see it and they can actually believe how it's going to happen. So I think that's really important. Ethical considerations, the IRB process, obviously we've been going through those things as part of our process, but ethics is everything in this job. It's everything. I think the thing I've learned in 5 years of being a superintendent is without the ethical framework, the ethical background, you would make mistakes, and they would be career-ending potentially. Or if not career-ending, they would cause you to be in such discomfort, I think, all the time, because you'd be worried about people finding out about them, or worried about people, saying you didn't do something, or those kinds of things. There's that side of the ethical framework. There's also the side of the ethical framework where, going through the data, in my school district's data, and having this understanding that, we're not doing what we need to do for kids who are, economically disadvantaged in our school district. We think we are, but then when you actually look at the data and you look at the fact that they're in the lowest track, regardless of how well they did on the PSSA or the Keystone for a lot of times because of because teachers are placing them in there and they don't look like kids who should be in the upper tracks. We're making a major shift in what we're doing in our high school next year, which is essentially untracking the high school and telling teachers we're going to differentiate within the classroom, and students can take an honors course as long as they do the work. We're differentiating by work, which I think is going to be an awesome project for us. But by having the access to the data, by going through and using the data, by demonstrating to the teachers, here is all the information. It wasn't even a strenuous process. They saw how it wasn't ethical. They saw how what we were doing was not helping our students, and I think being able to do that is critically important as a leader. Being able to kind of create that visual model again. Someone who is a scholar, a note I made. Someone who's a scholar. I think of them as someone who is constantly questioning. They're constantly asking why we're doing this, asking can we do it better, asking that continuous improvement model, and then looking at results and interpreting them in a way that is ethical, and not trying to just push an agenda, but trying to ensure that the ethics behind it are also sound, and that you're trying to do what's in the best interest of your students. So I think in terms of the EDD program, definitely a problem of practice. That's something that we're really working on all the time. I think I have a pretty good plan for my dissertation. I think I'm going to be using the TPAC framework, and we're going to be looking at teacher training and evaluation. I have this great opportunity where I'm going to be on the ESSA work group at PDE to really look at teacher evaluation. And I think the more of the things I can bring in regarding what I believe about education and what I know about teaching with technology, because that's clearly the directions we're going. I think the more of that I can do as part of that work group, has potential to actually influence educator evaluation for 300,000 people in the Commonwealth. So I have a very strong opinion about giving teachers more autonomy, really looking at student-driven learning, really pulling off the post-positive glasses and saying, okay, it's time to let them get back at it and provide them with professional networks that they need and provide them with the support that they need, and then hold them to really being great teachers by evaluations that are effective and evaluations that are fair. They're looking for specific behaviors in the classroom and student engagement and things that I think are really important. So I think it's going to be an awesome time to be an educator now under ESSA. I really do. I think it's going to change the game for a lot of people, and I'm really looking forward to having the opportunity to do something about it. So it's exciting. Areas for growth for me, everywhere. Every single area is an area for growth. It's going to be an area for growth for the rest of my career. I think I have a great handle on a lot of things. I think I have a ton to learn. I think that's the one thing I've learned the most in this process is that learning is really never going to stop. And I have never learned as much as I've learned in the last year, and that's the truth. I feel as if I have learned more in the last 12 months than I had previously, probably in multiple years of coursework and things. It's because I'm engaged in a job that gives me opportunity while I'm taking courses, and it's embedded. And I think that's what the EDD program is all about, and that's the part of it that I think is the most exciting. So thank you very much. It's my final reflection for my statistics course this year. Have a great day.